What would you say is the overriding kind of feeling about Harry and Meghan over there at this point?
Well, it's difficult. I think in the press, it's very kind of anti-them.
Yes.
And it's been sort of a gift to William and Kate, because now they're like deified in the British press. Now, they could do no wrong.
In a stunning twist, Prince Harry, still formerly the Duke of Sussex, is said to be absolutely livid after what many are calling a massive snub on the Graham Norton Show. Viewers who tuned in for what they thought would be a lighthearted interview were left stunned when Graham Norton, one of Britain's most beloved and cheeky talk show hosts, did something few saw coming. He completely ignored Harry's royal title. It's no secret that Harry's relationship with the British media has been rocky for years. Ever since stepping back from royal duties in 2020, he's been at the center of both adoration and backlash. But no one anticipated this level of shade on a show known for its humor, lightness, and star-studded guests. Graham Norton, famous for putting celebrities at ease and making even the biggest stars laugh, has always played by his own rules, but always with a nod to respect. Yet when the cameras rolled and it was time to introduce Harry, everything changed. Instead of calling him the Duke of Sussex or even Prince Harry, Norton chose a different route, something noticeably less formal and, to many, downright dismissive.
This for my family. This is not a surprise to anybody. It's really sad that it's got to this point, but I've got to do something for my own mental health, for my wife's, and for Archie's as well.
It might sound like a small detail, but for someone like Harry, who spent his whole life being introduced with titles and protocol, this was anything but minor. It was a public snub that, according to insiders and royal watchers, felt deeply intentional, and this is where the real drama begins. Let's zoom out for a second. The Graham Norton Show is legendary for its playful, light-hearted energy. It's the kind of show where A-list celebrities can finally relax, tell stories, and share a laugh. No stiff formalities, no pressure. Nobody expects bombshell moments or serious controversy on that iconic red couch. So when Harry made his appearance, fans expected just another friendly pit stop on his journey away from royal life. A place to chat, maybe crack a few jokes, and show a more relatable side. No headlines, just good vibes. But what actually happened was anything but laid back. That one missing title, dropped in front of millions, sent shockwaves through both the studio and social media. Suddenly, what should have been an easygoing interview turned into headline news.
Yes, my family read the tabloids. It's laid out at breakfast when everyone comes together. So whether you walk around saying you believe it or not, it's still leaving an imprint in you.
As the studio lights dimmed and the audience waited for Harry's big entrance, everyone was expecting the classic Graham Norton treatment, an introduction with style and a nod to the guest's importance. Usually when high-profile figures appear on the show, Graham goes all out, announcing their full titles and impressive backgrounds. And for someone like Harry, who has carried the titles of Prince and Duke for his entire life, viewers fully anticipated a formal welcome as Prince Harry or the Duke of Sussex. But what happened next left jaws on the floor. Instead of any mention of his royal status, Graham Norton simply welcomed him as Harry. No grand introduction, no royal acknowledgement, just a first name, casual, almost dismissive, and definitely not what anyone expected for a man who's been a royal figure for decades.
Getting drunk, falling out of clubs, taking drugs. I'd now found the love of my life, and I now have the opportunity to start a family.
It didn't come off as a simple oversight, it felt deliberate. The way Norton breezed right past Harry's royal titles instantly got fans and royal watchers buzzing. Was this an intentional move? Was it Graham making a statement or just breaking with tradition on purpose? For some, this moment might seem like a small detail, but for those who understand the power of royal titles, it was a major breach of protocol. Harry's entire life has been shaped by those titles. It's how the world recognizes him, how he's greeted everywhere he goes, and how he's always been introduced by presidents, by prime ministers, and by talk show hosts alike. Even though Harry chose to step away from his royal duties, it's obvious that a big part of his identity is still tied to those titles. For him, it's not just about formality, it's about respect. Being acknowledged the right way in public, especially on such a high-profile show, still matters deeply to him. So when Graham Norton ignored it, it didn't just feel like a casual moment, it spoke volumes about where Harry stands, how he's viewed, and what kind of respect he now receives. That's what's truly troubling Harry. It's not just the slip itself, but the meaning behind it.
Unprecedented details about Harry's accusation that his own family members used the tabloid press against him and his wife.
For Harry, this moment likely cut deeper than most people realize. It's a subtle but stinging reminder that he's no longer the prince the world once knew. He's no longer Prince Harry in the eyes of the public, just Harry. That small shift in how he was introduced wasn't just a change in words, it was a powerful blow to his very sense of self. When we talk about royal titles, we have to understand just how woven they are into a person's entire identity. For someone like Harry, being addressed as the Duke of Sussex or Prince Harry isn't just a matter of etiquette, it's a symbol of his place in the royal family, a constant reinforcement of who he is and what he represents. Even after stepping back from official duties, Harry has retained those titles. They're not just formalities, they're a huge part of his public and personal history, something he was born into and something that has followed him through every stage of his life. Imagine living every single day under that banner, from childhood to adulthood. Every time you walk into a room or onto a stage, you're greeted with honorifics. Prince, Duke, Your Royal Highness. It becomes second nature, an expectation, a part of your public persona that never fades. So now, picture showing up on one of Britain's biggest talk shows, expecting that same treatment. The audience is buzzing, the cameras are rolling, and you're ready for a bit of fun. But instead of the royal fanfare you're used to, you hear just your first name without a single nod to your royal status. For Harry, that's more than an awkward slip, it's a public stripping away of everything he's known.
They felt as though it made them look bad. They felt as though they didn't have a chance or weren't able to do that for their partners. What Meghan had to go through was similar in some part to what Kate and what Camilla went through. Very different circumstances. But then you add in the race element, which was what the British press jumped on.
For Harry, this wasn't just an oversight, it felt like a deliberate decision, one that could leave him feeling erased from the very identity he's always carried. For that moment on stage, Harry wasn't a prince or a duke, he was just another celebrity guest on the couch. And for someone who spent a lifetime in the royal spotlight, being reduced to just Harry is no small blow. Imagine the whirlwind of emotions running through him, all eyes on him, the audience expecting to see a royal, yet he's introduced with barely a nod to his lifelong role. The sense of being slighted, of not getting the recognition and respect he's used to, must have stung deeply. Underneath the cameras and laughter, you can almost picture the frustration simmering, a silent tension beneath Harry's practiced smile. This is where the story really heats up. How did Harry react to this very public snub? Was he furious behind the scenes? Did he feel embarrassed or disappointed? Or did he manage to keep his composure and carry on as if nothing happened? While Harry is known for his typically calm and composed demeanor in public, even he isn't immune to moments that strike at the heart of his identity.
We're going to begin this hour, though, with a segment of Prince Harry's 60 Minutes interview that you may not have heard before. The Duke of Sussex spoke with Anderson Cooper about his new memoir, Spare, last night on 60 Minutes.
We can't overlook just how tough moments like these must be for Harry. He's battled the press and public scrutiny for years, and this felt like yet another subtle pushback, a reminder that he's no longer insulated by royal protocol. It's easy to picture his emotions running high beneath the surface, even as he tried to hide any sign of frustration. On camera, Harry did his best to smile and go along with the friendly banter, but if you watched closely, there was a shift. He didn't seem as at ease as usual. His trademark grin didn't quite light up his eyes, and his posture grew just a little more rigid. He didn't have to say a word, his body language said it all. And let's not forget, just being on the show as a guest was already a huge step. For Harry, this appearance was supposed to be a chance to show his more relatable side, to be seen as more than just a royal headline, but to be treated like this, with his identity almost brushed aside, that had to sting. Let's be real.
Within the family, as such, there's the spare and the heir. My brother being the heir and me being the spare, and so I think it was just a really good opportunity to choose a title that had been somewhat used against me for a long part of my life.
Harry isn't just another celebrity making the talk show rounds, he's a royal, whether the media likes it or not. His family legacy is steeped in centuries of drama, tradition, and strict formality. So when a high-profile host like Graham Norton casually skips over Harry's title, it's not a harmless slip. It's a clear sign of the lingering tension between Harry and the British public, the kind of tension that won't go away with a smile and a nod. Imagine being in Harry's shoes at that moment. Did he want to speak up? Maybe, but he spent years learning how to play the media game, how to pick his battles, and let moments like these pass, at least on the surface. Still, for someone who spent his entire life being treated with a certain level of deference, that one small snub couldn't have felt good. The episode barely finished airing before the reactions poured in. Fans and critics alike took to social media, flooding Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram with hot takes and fiery opinions. Everyone had something to say. Some viewers jumped to Graham Norton's defense, insisting it was just a casual mistake, no harm intended, just a relaxed vibe for the show. but plenty of others saw it differently. They were quick to call out what they perceived as a deliberate snub, suggesting that this was more than just an innocent oversight. Speculation started swirling. Was this a subtle statement about the monarchy, or a quiet critique of Harry's royal status and the choices he's made? The hashtag #HarrySnub began trending, with people on both sides weighing in. Some even wondered aloud if this pointed omission was a sign of the growing distance between Harry and the royal family. Was this the media reflecting public sentiment, or was it Graham Norton himself making a personal statement? In the end, one thing was clear: this wasn't just about a missing title, it was about what Harry represents, and how much that representation is shifting, both in the eyes of the public and within the media itself.
We were discussing the publication of Prince Harry's highly anticipated memoir, Spare,
I won't pick it up again.
which was released today.
And to share their views on the revelations, we're joined now by Vanessa Belsack, King Charles's former Communications Secretary.
The debates raging on social media were nothing short of explosive. On one side, loyal fans argued that no matter what, Harry deserved a certain level of respect. He was born into royalty, and that identity can't simply be erased because he chose a different path. They felt the omission was not only rude, but a deliberate attempt to diminish his legacy. But the other side fired back just as fiercely. They insisted that Harry can't have it both ways. He stepped away from royal duties, gave up the privileges, and built a new life. Why, they asked, should he still expect to be treated differently from any other celebrity in the spotlight? If he wants to be just Harry, maybe that's exactly how he should be introduced. For Harry, this moment quickly snowballed into something much bigger than a single TV appearance. It wasn't just about a talk show anymore, it was a lightning rod for all the ongoing drama surrounding his relationship with the British public, the relentless media, and his own royal family. What started as a small snub sparked a chain reaction. Every tweet, every TikTok, every headline made the story grow larger, proving just how closely the world still watches every move he makes. Once again, Harry found himself under that unforgiving spotlight at the center of a controversy he never intended. Was this the start of a bigger issue? A signal that his post-royal journey will always be haunted by questions of identity and respect? Or would it all fade away as the news cycle moved on? Only time would tell. But one thing was certain, the conversation was far from over. That leads to the bigger question: what's the real story behind Graham Norton's choice? Was it a simple mistake or something more personal? Could Norton, known for his sharp wit and willingness to push boundaries, really risk offending a royal on purpose just for a laugh? It's hard to know for sure. But with so much ongoing tension between Harry and the media, it's clear this moment struck a nerve far deeper than anyone expected.
I don't think that we can ever have peace with my family unless the truth is out.
A lot of people believe this wasn't just an innocent slip. After all, Graham Norton is no stranger to making bold statements. He's famous for his sharp humor and fearless approach with celebrity guests. Over the years, he's taken more than a few subtle digs at the royal family on his show. So was this just another example of Graham making a statement about Harry's changing status and his decision to walk away from royal life? If you see it from that angle, you could argue that the snub was about more than TV etiquette. By skipping Harry's title, maybe Graham was sending a message, not just to Harry, but to the public as well. Perhaps this was more than a casual introduction. Maybe it was Graham Norton drawing a line, signaling that times have changed and so has Harry's place in the world. Of course, it's equally possible that the omission was nothing more than a casual oversight. Maybe Graham simply forgot, or felt that giving Harry the full royal fanfare wasn't necessary, especially since Harry himself has said he wants to be treated less like a traditional royal and more like an ordinary person. Maybe, in some way, this was Graham honoring Harry's own wishes to step away from the old rules. The truth is, we'll probably never know for sure whether Graham's decision was intentional or just a coincidence. What's crystal clear, though, is that it ignited a major conversation. And for Harry, who's tried so hard to control his narrative and find peace outside the royal bubble, this unexpected headline was probably the last thing he needed right now.
No, he didn't. It wasn't. It's not to say that by him saying, no, you can't do this, that there's a rule that says that I can't. Right, it was more of a brother, I guess, competition.
Harry's frustration with the media and with how his royal identity is handled in public has been no secret for years. For him, being reminded of his shifting status in such a public, televised moment couldn't have been easy to swallow. But what happened on the Graham Norton Show speaks to a much bigger issue: Harry's ongoing, tense, and deeply personal relationship with the press. It's well known that Harry and Meghan Markle have been in a long public battle with the media. From relentless paparazzi chasing their every move, to negative stories plastered across tabloids, the couple has been under the microscope ever since they went public. That pressure only increased after they announced their decision to step away from their senior royal duties, a move that shocked the world and sent the press into a frenzy. Harry has spoken out time and again about how damaging this constant media scrutiny has been. In interviews, documentaries, and public statements, he's described the emotional toll the press's treatment has taken on both him and his family. For Harry, this isn't just a passing frustration, it's a lifelong struggle that has shaped everything he does. That's why he and Meghan tried to build a new life in North America, hoping to escape the UK's intense tabloid culture and create a sense of privacy for themselves and their children. But even across the Atlantic, the media's focus hasn't faded. Every move, every quote, every appearance is analyzed, twisted, and turned into yet another headline. So when a moment like the Graham Norton snub happens, when his royal title is quietly ignored on a show watched by millions, it's not just about the awkwardness of the moment, it's about all the years of public tension, all the headlines, and all the ways Harry's identity has been picked apart by the press. For Harry, this small incident is another brick in the wall of mistreatment and misunderstanding he's faced for decades. This is a man whose very position in the royal family is constantly debated, whether he's still a real royal or just another celebrity trying to break free. The refusal to acknowledge his title on national TV becomes more than a TV blooper. It's a public question mark over who he really is and whether he truly belongs in the world he was born into. And the reality is, Harry never chose this life. He didn't ask to be a prince, but he's lived with the crushing expectations, the pressure, and the unrelenting public gaze since the moment he was born. Now, after stepping back from royal duties, Harry's made it clear he wants to move on. He's tried to carve out a new path, one not defined by titles and royal protocol. But the media keeps dragging him back, refusing to let him leave the royal narrative behind. Even something as small as a missing title on a talk show becomes a symbol of how the world and the press just won't let him go. That's what makes moments like this Graham Norton episode sting so much. It's not about being introduced the right way, it's about being reminded that no matter how hard he tries to move forward, the past is never really out of reach. For Harry, it's a constant battle to define himself on his own terms, a battle the media seems determined not to let him win. And while Harry is often at the center of these royal media dramas, it's impossible to ignore Meghan Markle's role in shaping the path he's on now. Meghan, outspoken and unafraid to challenge the press, has always called out the unfair treatment they both faced, especially during their time as working royals. In many ways, the rising tension between Harry and the media really began to escalate when Meghan entered the picture. The constant criticism, the tabloid attacks, and the racial undertones in much of the coverage made their lives increasingly difficult. Meghan's willingness to fight back only added fuel to the fire, and together, their efforts to push back against the media became a defining part of their story.
They're amazing. But all you want to do as parents is protect them. And so as we can see what's happening in the online space, we know that there's a lot of work to be done there, and we're just happy to be able to be a part of.
As a couple, Harry and Meghan have made it clear they want to change the narrative and finally control their own story. It's entirely possible that Meghan played a part in shaping how Harry handled the Graham Norton snub. Meghan has always stood firmly behind Harry's choices, and this could have been one of those moments where she encouraged him to hold his head high, stay calm, and not let the media's tactics get under his skin. But on the flip side, this public slight might have stirred up even more frustration for Harry, especially with Meghan by his side. After all, both of them have faced years of criticism, invasive headlines, and constant reminders that their royal past is never far behind. Meghan's presence might have made this moment even more emotional, highlighting the reality that, as a couple, their relationship with the press is always under a microscope. For Harry, every small slight, no matter how minor it seems to outsiders, isn't just about him. It's a trigger for all the battles he and Meghan have fought together, a reminder of how hard it is to find peace and respect in the glare of the world's spotlight.
The stage where almost every parent needs to be a first responder. And even the best first responders in the world wouldn't be able to tell the signs of possible suicide. That is the terrifying piece of it.
And this subtle snub from Graham Norton could have been yet another bitter reminder of just how much control the media still has over Harry and Meghan's lives. So what does this moment really mean for Harry when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture? Even after stepping back from his royal duties, after making a conscious effort to carve out a new path, one focused on philanthropy, mental health advocacy, and building a more private life with Meghan and their children, Harry finds himself pulled back into the royal orbit time and time again. This incident shows that, for Harry, breaking free from the royal identity is more complicated than simply giving up a title or moving overseas. The royal family isn't just about grand palaces, public appearances, or formality. It's about legacy, lineage, and a family history that has shaped the UK for generations. For Harry, who spent his entire life in that spotlight, walking away from it isn't just a decision, it's a constant battle against the shadows of his own past. His royal title is more than a formality, it's a living symbol of the House of Windsor and a reminder of the responsibilities, expectations, and public gaze that come with it. The Graham Norton moment highlights just how tough it is for Harry to truly separate himself from that legacy. No matter how hard he tries, the world and the media aren't ready to let him forget where he came from.
Without question, I'm sure. But what people don't know is the efforts that I've gone to resolve this privately.
No matter how far he moves or how many changes he makes, the public still sees Harry through the filter of his royal titles. So when moments like this happen, when he's not given the respect or acknowledgement tied to that royal status, it must feel like a sharp reminder that the past isn't something he can ever truly outrun. For Harry, that might be the most painful part of his new reality. He's no longer the prince he once was, but he's also not fully free from the powerful legacy that comes with being born into the royal family. Instead, he's caught somewhere in the middle trying to create a new life for himself and his family, but always finding himself pulled back by the weight of royal history. It's a constant tug of war between what he wants for his future and what the world expects because of his past.